A MiG-21 erupts from the darkness below, climbing hard into firing position behind a B-52. 4.50 caliber machine guns hammer the night, tear through the fighter, and send a fireball tumbling across the sky over Hanoi. A second MiG breaks hard and disappears into the dark. 6 nights later, another MiG comes back from the same angle. The only thing between the bomber and a Mach 2 fighter is an 18-year-old sitting alone in the dark. Will the same guns save the B-52 one more time? December 1972. The Paris peace talks have collapsed. President Nixon answers with the largest strategic bombing campaign since the Second World War. Operation Linebacker 2. 11 nights. Over 700 B-52 sorties into the most heavily defended airspace on Earth. The B-52D Stratofortress weighs 200 tons fully loaded. But at the very back of the aircraft, past the bomb bay, past the crew compartment, one man sits alone. He faces backward, sealed under a transparent canopy, cut off from the rest of the crew. In front of him, 4.50 caliber M3 machine guns and a radar-directed fire control system that searches, tracks, and feeds aim. 600 rounds per gun. No one expects him to use it. The MiG-21 fishbed crosses twice the speed of sound. North Vietnamese pilots have trained for one specific mission: killing B-52s at night. Ground controllers guide them low through the F-4 Phantom escort screen, then vector them upward from below and behind, the low rear quarter, where the bomber crew cannot see, and also where a MiG can close to firing range before anyone in the cockpit knows it is there. But that same approach path places the fighter directly inside the tail gunner's search sector. On the night of December 18th, 129 B-52s lift off from U Tapao and Anderson. Somewhere over North Vietnam, MiG-21s receive their vectors. The B-52D call sign, Brown 3, tail number 56-0676, belongs to the 307th Strategic Bomb Wing out of U Tapao. It flies in a 3-ship cell, wingtip to wingtip at 30,000 feet, each aircraft's electronic countermeasures shielding the others. Below them, surface-to-air missiles climb through the dark in bright orange arcs. Explosions ripple across the sky. The cell holds course. The bomb run demands it. They reach the target. Bombs fall. The aircraft banks for home. 40 miles behind the formation, a MiG-21 slips past the F-4 Phantom screen. Ground control has been feeding the pilot headings, altitudes, closure rates. He drops low. He climbs again from below and behind, nose pulling up toward the belly of the bomber stream. A second MiG holds position at roughly 8 o'clock, possibly waiting for its own attack run. From his cockpit, the B-52 likely fills the sky like a slow, dark wall, a target that cannot dodge. That is the logic of every B-52 intercept. Close from behind, fire missiles or guns, break away before the escort reacts. Nothing in that logic accounts for a gun turret pointing back. Except tonight, someone is watching. Staff Sergeant Samuel Turner sits in the tail compartment of Brown 3. He reached his station by climbing over a seat folded flat, then snapping it upright. Now he faces backward, alone beneath the canopy, connected to the crew only by intercom. His radar scope glows green, and on that scope, a dot appears. Low, behind, climbing. The fire control radar locks on. Search mode transitions to track. The computerized gun sight begins feeding lead to the 4 barrels. Turner watches the dot close. Outside the canopy, SAM explosions still flash orange against the dark. Inside, just the green glow of the scope and the hum of the tracking system holding steady. He does not call for evasive action. A B-52 on its bomb run has no room to dogfight. It can only do what it has always done: fly straight and let the man in the tail do his job. The dot fills the scope. The MiG enters range. 6 seconds. Roughly 700 rounds tear backward into the dark. Behind the aircraft, a gigantic explosion lights the sky. Turner looks through the canopy window. Where the MiG should be, there is nothing. Just fire and falling debris. 15 seconds later, the second MiG turns and runs. Over the intercom, Brown 3's aircraft commander radios the formation. "I think we got one," and they know what he means. No bomber gunner has shot down a fighter since the Korean War. That streak just ended in a tail turret over Hanoi, with a weapon most of the Air Force had written off as a relic. Linebacker 2 is only one night old. The MiGs will come back. Christmas Eve, 1972. 30 B-52s from Utapao climb into the dark, heading for the rail yards at Tai Nguyen and Kep, 40 miles north of Hanoi. Among them is the B-52D, known as Diamond Lil, call sign Ruby 3, tail number 55-0083. In Diamond Lil's tail, Airman First Class Albert Moore crawls over the folded seat, pulls it upright, and settles in facing backward. He is 18 years old, the youngest man on the crew, sitting in the loneliest seat in the aircraft. Under the canopy, the night sky stretches empty behind the bomber. Ahead of him, 4 gun barrels, the radar scope, the intercom. Nothing else. Somewhere below, a MiG-21 pilot receives his vector from ground control. His mission follows the same profile that cost a comrade 6 nights ago. Climb from below and behind, close on the bomber, fire, break away. Whether he knew about Turner's kill is uncertain. What is certain, the approach angle he has been given places him inside the one sector of the B-52 where something can shoot back. On Moore's radar scope, a new dot appears. 830 low, 8 miles out. He keys the intercom. Target, closing. The dot moves fast. It stabilizes at 4,000 yards, 630 position. Directly behind and below, exactly where the fire control system stares hardest. From the MiG's perspective, the B-52 is growing larger in the dark, a massive silhouette, engines glowing, flying straight and predictable. Everything about the geometry says easy target. Moore calls the pilot for evasive action. He calls the electronic warfare officer for chaff and flares. Diamond Lil shudders as aluminum strips and burning magnesium pour from its dispensers, filling the sky behind the bomber with noise and heat. The MiG keeps coming. 3,000 yards. Moore's hands rest on the gun controls. The tracking radar holds the target steady. Around him, the tail compartment rattles with the vibration of 8 engines pushing 200 tons of aircraft through thin air. 2,000 yards. Moore keys the intercom one more time. Firing. He squeezes the trigger. 4.50 caliber barrels open up. The turret shakes. Spent brass cascades. On the radar scope, the return signal flares bright. Moore holds the trigger. The dot swells to 3 times its original intensity. Then it vanishes. Approximately 1,200 yards from the tail of Diamond Lil, the MiG-21 ceases to exist on radar. Moore releases the trigger. 800 rounds expended, 3 bursts. From the tail of Ruby 2, flying nearby, Technical Sergeant Clarence Shute sees it with his own eyes. A fireball, pieces breaking apart, the burning wreckage dropping into the undercast until the clouds swallow it whole. An 18-year-old airman in a compartment smaller than a closet just recorded the last confirmed kill by a bomber tail gunner in wartime using machine guns. No one in that aircraft knows it yet. No one knows that this will never happen again. Across 11 nights of Linebacker 2, the United States lost 15 B-52s. Every single one fell to surface-to-air missiles. According to USAF records, not one was brought down by a MiG. Vietnamese records claim a MiG-21 destroyed a B-52 in the final days of the campaign. The two accounts have never been reconciled. What the records do agree on, tail gunners aboard B-52s claimed 5 MiG kills during Linebacker 2. 2 were confirmed. The score between the bomber and the fighter, by official American count, stands at 2-0. Why? Because the MiG-21 fell into a geometry trap of its own making. To attack a B-52, the fighter needed to approach from the low rear quarter. That angle minimized visual warning and offered a clean pursuit curve against a target flying straight and level. It was textbook intercept geometry, refined through years of combat. But the B-52's tail turret pointed directly at the low rear quarter. Search radar, tracking radar, and a computerized gun sight all oriented backward, all watching the exact corridor the MiG had to fly through. The fighter could not attack from any other angle without sacrificing the pursuit geometry that made the intercept possible. And it could not enter that corridor without placing itself inside a cone of fire it did not expect. The B-52 did not win by becoming a fighter. It won because the attack geometry the MiG needed placed it inside the bomber's only lethal sector. Does that mean the MiG-21 was weak? Far from it. The fishbed forced the United States to wrap every B-52 mission in layers of F-4 escort, electronic jamming, and chaff corridors. North Vietnamese air defenses, combining SAMs, anti-aircraft artillery, and MiG interceptors, made the skies over Hanoi among the deadliest any bomber crew ever faced. Change a single variable and the outcome changes. A different approach angle, a longer range missile, a coordinated multi-axis attack. Any of those turns the tail gunner into a spectator. In September 1991, Strategic Air Command ordered the gunner position eliminated and the tail guns deactivated. The gunner did not disappear because Turner and Moore had failed. The world around the gun had changed. A Mach 2 Fury came to correct a border. The bumper shot back. Twice. After the war, Moore wrote about that Christmas Eve flight. He was not sure whether to feel happy or sad. There had been a man inside that MiG. He would have wanted to fly home too. Given the same circumstances, Moore said, he would do it again. Albert Moore died in 2009 at 55. Today, Brown 3 sits at Fairchild Air Force Base in Spokane, a red star painted beneath its cockpit. Diamond Lil rests near the north gate of the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. 2 turrets, 8 guns, 2 confirmed kills against supersonic fighters. And after them, silence. No American bomber has carried a tail gunner into combat since. The position no longer exists. Speed decides how quickly you reach the fight. Geometry decides who gets the shot. And sometimes, the most dangerous thing on the battlefield is the one nobody thought to fear. Which seat would you rather be in? The cockpit of the Mach 2 fighter or the tail turret of the bomber it came to kill? Drop your answer below. If this changed the way you see the B-52, share it. Subscribe, and next time we put 2 more machines in the same sky.